It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. So good to connect with you. Thank you for choosing to start your day with us. And it's been an inspirational morning so far. So let's continue on that trend. Next, we have a remarkable story about survival and the dedication of conservationists. I'm grossly oversimplifying here. We are joined by Razan Doyle, Marketing and Sales Manager, and then Cameron Doyle, the Chief Operating Officer of the incredible Nyosi Wildlife Reserve, to share the journey of Nyosi, a cheetah who was born in captivity and then rewilded at their reserve. These moments have to be marked and celebrated. And after breaking her leg while caring for her newborn cubs, Nyosi was found by the reserve's guides, leading to a very careful rescue mission to save both her and her cubs. And of course, Razan and Cameron are here to tell us more about this incredible journey to recovery. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I love stories like this because you get to tell the whole bigger picture through a very small picture, through a very small lens. But first, we've got to get through the dramatic, because I kind of make it sound like it was an easy thing. We found her, we rescued her, it's sorted, and now she's back in the wild. Not so much from your side. So how did this journey adventure first begin?
Well, to set the scene, it actually all started on April Fool's Day.
Oh, my word.
April.
So you needed 2 phone calls to actually believe this one.
Yes. But it's quite an awesome story because Cameron will elaborate why Nyosi actually came to us. I think we'll start from that angle.
Yeah, so Graham, thanks for having us.
Absolute pleasure, man.
Nyosi is part of a rewilding project. So Nyosi was actually a cat born in captivity. She lived for 4 years in a very small pen up in Hoedspruit. And we joined forces with a couple of our partners, Cheetah, Met's Population Initiative, We Wild Africa, and Global Humane Conservation Fund of Africa. And they all assisted us in this kind of groundbreaking rewilding project, which a lot of reserves are now taking part in. But essentially, it's aiming to rebolster the endangered cheetah population by taking captive-born cats and rewilding them on a reserve. So Nyosi started like that. She took her first steps at our reserve, and it took about 8 months to get her to become a wild cheetah through various kind of tools and logistics. We finally got her wild, and she finally became a hunting cheetah on the reserve, and in fact actually bred with our wild cheetahs. So
oh, wow.
It was a successful rewilding story until, unfortunately, she broke her leg on the 1st of April.
So talk us through that moment and how that all played out, because that feels quite dramatic, and I would imagine you would need maybe a second phone call to kind of process it all.
Well, so we don't have signal at some places, so that was also quite interesting. But yeah, so how it actually all occurred, one of our guides, Braden, was driving on the reserve, and he saw Nyosi hobbling slightly. And because, as Cameron said, she's a rewilded cheetah, she understands, she has quite a good connection with humans. So with her sore paw, she actually ran to Braden and kept coming back and forth to the game viewer. And Braden realised, well, she's running quite sore.
Differently.
And then that alerted us that we need to call in the vet. We called in the vet. She was darted, which in itself is also not easy because cheetahs like to run from the vet as well. And once she was darted, we put her in one of our bomas, and then we actually had to get a portable x-ray machine, which is also quite a challenge. So many challenges, but when we found her, they were not cheetahing her arm, they were x-raying her arm.
But very fast.
And the vet actually found out that she was lactating. And that was alarm bells in itself because her foot is now, or her paw, excuse me, is sore. And she's also got cubs, which we don't know where they are on the reserve.
This is like, why was this not filmed live and broadcast online for us to be a part of? So what is the state now? How are cubs? How did you track the cubs down and kind of start connecting the dots?
Yeah, so I mean, as Rez said, it was a lot of challenges, and we didn't know she had cubs when we rescued her. So she had a collar on, so we could track her movements because we are very close to the city, one of our fence lines. And that collar, unfortunately, had actually died. The battery had gone flat. So
it can happen.
It can happen. So we didn't actually know where these cubs would be. We had no idea. Obviously, we knew we've got close to 2,600 hectares, which is a large area, to try and find anywhere from 2 to 5 cubs. So we launched a bit of a rescue mission. We had a whole bunch of people who came and helped us, some neighbours and some other conservation specialists, some vets. And luckily, Braden, the same guide who who the cheetah came up to, went to one of the valleys where he had last seen her before she was injured and found 4 cheetah cubs on a kind of a cliff above a river. So anyway, we had to launch this rescue mission with about 8 to 9 of us in the dying light. We actually caught the cheetah cubs with old game drive blankets in the dark. Yeah, so we've got some interesting videos and photos of us trying to rescue these cubs. But luckily, we reintroduced them to the mother, and she accepted them back, which was great news for us. And she's now in the boma with the 4 cubs who have grown immensely. They're now eating meat. So in the beginning, they obviously...
So the bulls have changed now dramatically.
And
But that's good because they got wild blood in them.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
What does this mean now moving forward? Because you don't obviously want to regress. You've got a wilder cheetah, you've got wild cubs, but now we've had to engage again out of necessity. So what does the rollout from here look like in terms of getting them out? Because I know just a kink in the tail is too much for a cheetah to be released into the wild because they are so finely balanced in the way that they hunt and run. So a broken leg, that's going to take some fixing. So what is the plan moving forward?
Yeah, I think I'll answer this one. So the arm has been operated on. It was a front right paw, so we put some pins in there. It's going to take about 6 months as a recovery time. And as you say, cheetahs are a little bit more delicate than most wild cats.
Sure, yeah.
But luckily, we've got a dedicated team of vets and conservationists who kind of monitoring her daily. We're feeding her the right stuff, and we're not stressing her out. No one's getting too close to aggravate her or anything like that. So for now, it's just about keeping an eye on her and her cubs and just doing what we can for their safety and kind of making sure they're fed, looked after, regular checkups, without being too invasive. You can't dart her every time you want to check on her. So
She's just going to get faster and faster. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Well, look, the bottom line is you just do what you do because you've been built on a foundation of best practice. And I think that needs to be supported.
For sure.
If people want to help in your space, if they want to help in your sea, how do they back the kind of things that you're doing?
Well, at the moment, we're busy actually setting up a portal for people to donate in their private capacity if they want to. So if you follow us on social media, which is the best, we're quite active on there, you'll find what we'll be doing our next steps because cheetah rewilding is something very close to our heart. And I think there's only 2,000 cheetahs actually left. So the population... 7,000, sorry. Thank you very much. 7,000.
Listen, she's the salesperson, okay? She's the salesperson. We'll shave 5,000 off, okay?
Yeah.
Drive that come on. No, 100%. I get that. And this has become, I think, for all wildlife and conservation, the big cats represent that totem, and we've drawn a line now.
Yeah.
And I love that fact. So thank you so much for what you have done. I promise you on the Instagram account, yes, you will find the coolest content with those sorts of pictures on. There is nothing cuter than a beautiful cheetah cub, but to see an adult cheetah enter into its wild space and reclaim that, there is something very deep and something that stretches back for millennia. I am here for that kind of story, guys. Thank you so much. What a way to enter into the final hour of the show. Let's kick that off with the news headlines.